guys, welcome back to the Dion the Gaming channel. Today, if you're patient, we can talk a little history about the druid staff and the origin of the skip runs, how it really was invented. Now, I do have two videos out there. I do have the story that you never knew, which literally gives the answer right there, and then I have another video, the Thanks to Jonah, has partial the answer in there on when they actually started it and when it continued and how I shared it in game when I wasn't making any video or wasn't becoming a YouTube content creator. Now back then, when I came back to the game, I heard there were specific skip runs, but there's nothing like a druid skip run. These games, some of these skip runs were nerfed by SBI, and that's the reason why I did not share it with everyone on March 25, and I shared it to my boy Jonah on March 27. The reason is because if they nerf the Skinner boats because of skip runs in the expedition, then obviously they're going to nerf my druid staff, and then that'll be it. Even though I enjoy the random dungeons before April 9th, it would have gotten nerfed and I would have quit the game because I didn't want to go holy heal. I went holy heal for 2 days and it was boring to me. You just holy beam at 10 seconds before they got nerfed to 60 seconds. You can blame me for that. But before it got nerfed, it was just holy heal, and then do a generous heal, then holy heal again. Like that's all you do in the run or something like that. The only time it'll get excited is when everybody's standing on the AoE and then you're going crazy on how to heal it. So if you actually go back, if you take the time yourself to do any research about the game, if you find out about the expedition and the hardcore expedition, there were no such thing as druid. In fact, go into the hardcore expedition druid and try to find one of them. If you find one of them, that'll be the luckiest thing you can ever do, but that's about it. If you actually go into the main people who has like Lupaka or other players for hardcore expedition, what I want you to do is pause the video, go check the expedition, and then find one druid healer. And then if you can't find one druid healer, find out what heals are they using, which obviously is going to be obviously a holy heal, but find out what weapon. Majority of the weapon was a divine staff. That's the biggest weapon that is being used for the hardcore expedition. That is map 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is better than the tier 6 master sword expedition that you find in town. Everyone bought 8.3 and they were doing T5 15 map, and according to some player, which I can get the information if you want, he boasts that you get 800,000 fame per hour, but you have to obviously wear 8.3 to do those. So if you have to actually play on any of these videos and such like that, woo! We're supposed to stop the sound. I don't want to get copyrighted for that. I can actually call this as fair use. If you look at each one of them, you'll find out that each time that you see someone actually doing an expedition, it is those who has a holy healer. They don't have a druid healer or a wild staff healer. In fact, when I came back and tried to do the runs for the 1, 2, 3, and 4 maps and stuff like that, I began with a wild staff and then I switched to a druid. And then I started playing around to see which of those two were better. The druid was better, but in overall, nobody wanted us. For tier 6, 7, 8, and 9 and such, they would just kick me out. And even in 4, 5, or 3, I would still get kicked out of the expedition. Do you know how it actually feels to stay in the town? This spot right here that you're looking at right now. Do you know how it feels to just stay at that spot for like hours and hours on end, hoping that you're able to actually find some group that will actually allow you to stay in the run? I had to say, hey, I'm a druid healer. We're looking for a holy. Yeah, I'm a druid, but I can do 5 and 6. I did it before. Nah, man, we're looking for a holy. And then you go later on and start doing Master Swords T6 group because they're forced to have me as a healer. Like they have no choice but to stay with me, or they can kick me and hope that they can find another healer that joins in the T6. I spend hours and hours, like literally 5 hours, just sitting in the Carleon blue portal and such.
Then if you keep looking at each other video, you'll find out that yes, it is just holy healers, different types. I think I saw one with a life touch, but majority of them usually like to use the one with the instant spell on E and the one with the divine staff. And then after that, you'll have to have a specific set of skips to skip the runs. So what I'm trying to say is that during all this time, that someone could have went with a druid healer and tried to do a skip run with the druid healer. It was not invented during all this time because no one wants a druid healer or a nature healer overall. So if they don't want any of that, how can that be existed in Albion Online? Look at all the videos for the expedition. You'll not find one skip run for a druid. You'll all that have a skip run is the main skip set, which I will put it in a second. I'm just trying to see which one of these is the one where they started using the I don't think it's this one. I think it's the other one over here. I think it's this one right here, where they started doing the skip run. So let me show you something about skip run. You try to go to places that you don't have, and then during that time you have to use the Skinner boots, which you see that little purple. You can use the Spectre shoes if you want, but most of the time they use either an axe or movement speed. They go real fast and they use their boots, ignoring all mobs. And then you have to stop in certain spot area, whether it's here, look at my mouse, here, or whatever, where the mobs will not touch you. So they'll wait for the time, wait for a minute, wait for it to cool down. For some reason, he doesn't have assassin jacket. He's supposed to, but I guess they're just going to fight during this one. But again, when they actually start doing the skip runs again, they will put up that kind of set, which is the Skinner boots, ambush, assassin helm, or the expensive one, which costs about 400,000. The Spectre helm, Spectre shoes. Spectre helm allows you to cancel the mana that goes with the Spectre shoes. So that way you can actually, when you stop right here, you'll have full mana instead of having no mana. And then out of that is ambush and such. And sometimes they use assassin jacket or something that cooldowns to reduce the cooldown, so everybody can have use it again later on if they're gonna go full. Like majority of the time that the skip run is because they couldn't finish all the runs until the last boss. You can't do it. It takes too long. So before the timer runs out on the top right, we see bonus runs out in 18 and the portal closes in 28 minutes. This bonus time, they have to get to the end of the boss, finish it before the 18 minutes. So that is what's in there. Now I went in there with my druid heals and I asked the tank, could I just heal you? I mean, I probably could use my spiritual seed in W, and then we run all the way to the end and such, and then finish the mob in there. It's like, no. That's not how you do it. You have a skip run or you get kicked out of the run and such like that. It's like, well, if you kick me out of the run, you can't literally find a healer. I mean, we're already in here and stuff like that. So then I had to buy a skip set run, and with the skip set, which is what I just showed you, we will keep doing it. Again, if you actually keep looking, let me actually go ahead and slow down this one right here. Look at this one right here. They go into the run. As they enter the run, the guys have to set. Where you at, Bucker? There it is. That's the Skinner boots. And then they stop at a corner. Everybody comes together at one corner. After that, they switch back to their main gear and then go ahead and try to do the run. And then later on, if they feel like the 18 minutes they can't finish the runs, they will go right ahead and jump in again with their sets and skip it all the way to the end of the boss, and then fight the boss, finish it, and finish the run. So what happened during this time in here? Well, guess what? The reason why I didn't want to share everyone in the skip run back then, on March 25, which I only selected a few players. Okay, I selected a bunch of players from Bacon, which I thought they would keep it a secret. And then I selected my core run, which I know they kept it a secret. Or so I think. I mean, I do trust them. And then I selected Jonah on the last video that you can see, where I always share my information because he shared so much grand information with me. Thank you, Jonah. So during that time, I didn't actually want to share with anyone about what I had. And the reason why I didn't want to share it with them is after the Random Dungeon came out, this is what they did to the expedition. Step 1, they nerfed the skinning boots. So because of Expedition's stupid skip run, everybody else who's a gatherer for skinning boots and stuff like that got hit with the sense of wild. So now that has like I think 3 minutes or so instead of I think a minute. So no more skip run with those boots unless you want to wait 3 minutes or longer, and then you're wasting a lot of time for finishing the bonus run out. Second, they reduced the silver. It was 50%. They actually were generous to just drop it to 25%. And third, you have to clear I think 90% of the mobs in Hardcore Expedition in order to get the bonus. So you have to clear 90% of these mobs instead of skipping it. So no more of that bullshit skip run. Now, obviously, you can still use the Spectre, the Ambush. Any of the old skip run for Hardcore Expedition can still be done in random dungeons. The one with the 3 minutes, all you have to do is have a druid healer, obviously. But understand that in the Hardcore Expedition or in random dungeon, druid nature overall were hated and were disgusted because the same bombarded mentality of the Hardcore Expedition transferred to the random dungeon. So when I did, for example, my runs for 5th floor and stuff like that, when me and Iron started doing druid, and he was my dual core run, when I invite these players from Iron's friend list and such to come to my run, they would tell me, druid healer? And as soon as I get that, I go up Ibity, but I calm myself down, and then during that time, I prove to them what we can do. So basically, I succeeded in healing in many of those runs, which if you actually go to the if you go to one of the last video or look at this part of the thing, when I had my 5th floor stuff, Iron invited players on the 5th for this Morgana, for this one, and then for this one. And if you want, I can get the picture where the guy whispered my boy, telling him that I was an amazing druid healer, and it was so amazing that I was wondering what build I had because there's no healer like that before. Now, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that. I really don't give a fuck. But the point is, back then, druid is almost close to non-existent. And when the random dungeon came out, they had the same mentality. You use holy healer. You don't use druid. In fact, the Archfiend, if you look at the video where my boy was doing it, he died because he did not use a guardian chest. But that didn't matter. Even if he had a guardian chest, a T5 on a T6, I think it was, yeah, T6, a T5 holy healer with holy beam outclassed a 7.2 druid healer 300 out of 400. When I show that fact to the devs and I show them pictures and stuff like that, then with all that evidence, the dev decided to nerf the healer from 10-second holy beam to 16-second holy beam. And then the druid would gain a W spell, which, no offense to the dev, that shit fucking sucks. I think that, I mean, if they meant it for the newbies to use it, then fine. The newbies fine to get before they can get Protector Nature. But if they're using Protector Nature way ahead in the high end of the game, like T67 and T8 and stuff like that, then that was just a retarded idea. I mean, it's not a holy beam. It cannot replace a holy beam. So during all that time, in March 25 to March 27, what happened is that I shared players the build. I shared how I'm doing these things. I don't use ambush. I don't use specter. I don't use invisibility potion. I just heal it through it. And then some players tried it with a holy healer, and they couldn't do it. And they the one that came close would have been a greater heal, but it still died to mages because mages, it's range, and melee gets pushed out of the middle when they stop and use the E on the greater holy. The druid was the best choice, and that's where I share it with the community. No, I didn't make any video back then because I wasn't making any video and I wasn't going to become a YouTube creator anyway. When I stopped being a player, like a hardcore player and stuff like that on April 9, and I quit the game and stuff like that, I decided to start making video and get into YouTube content and stuff like that, which later I'm going to move into Hytale, and that will be my main content in there, to be the first person to do those type of video, and that's where my subscribers will skyrocket and my views should skyrocket during that time. So where did it actually came from? Yes, it did came from me. Yes, it came from a mistake. I was actually I joined the Bacons, and in so many T7 on dive run, which I lost 12 mil, I gained a beneficial one. I gained iron because I told them, like, did you want to come to lower area 2-man and see if we can make a lot of money, which we did. And then second, during the time that we were pushed, I ran away and found out, holy crap, I can actually heal myself through all these mobs perfectly. And that's where the skip run came from. And during that time, I showed players who were saying, oh, I don't know how to make money and stuff like that. I was like, dude, we're making money. We're literally... I have a video about that too. I think, yeah, I think it's a story you never knew. Yeah, you have to watch the story you never knew to see that part as well. So let me look. I think it's this one right here, March 25 to April 9. These are not all the pictures and stuff like that, but you can basically see how much money I was making by just clicking this thing right here and then clicking this stuff in here. And then the story that the video that story you never knew has almost all the pictures that I had. I think about maybe 80% of the pictures that I recorded to show players that, oh, we were doing so much money in T5 and some T6 with Darth Magus, but majorly T5. So yes, the random dungeon skip runs came from me personally, because they didn't exist at all in the hardcore expedition, and then they didn't exist until I started sharing it to players on March 25 and March 27. And that's pretty much the end of the story. What did you got from this video? Well, what you probably got from this video is, one, that I am the creator of the skip runs, and two, you actually got to hear the story and the history of the Holy Healer versus Nature. You probably heard the whole Nature Wild Staff used to be one of the greatest 1-4 5v5 GVG. I think now most players use Redemption, and I don't see much. Yeah, I definitely literally don't see much Wild Staff anymore for its AoE ability for the GVG and such. Times change, but again, Holy Healer was the best, and at one point I didn't transfer all my spec. I just pretty much put everything that my fame credit into a Holy Heal, and did Holy Heal Life Touch for it, which was, to be honest with you, versus the Druid back then, it was actually the best. Do you know how it feels to just do a Holy Beam, grab a cup of coffee or something like that, drink it, and then come back and then do a generous heal, and then go ahead and do another Holy Beam? With Omelette, I think it dropped a second to 8 seconds when it was 10 seconds. And if you were using Horn, that thing was 6 seconds. But then obviously the nerf came out, and it's now 16 seconds, which I do have that video again, the story you never knew, where someone actually started bitching, saying the cooldown is too long for the Holy Beam. And my answer to that person was, you can try to go Life Touch in Horn. It drops the end Omelette, and it drops the second to 11 seconds, technically a 1 second nerfed. So this is pretty much the end of the video. Do yourself some research, and you'll find out more about the Nature back then when even before I started playing, through all this time that I started playing again, and about the Holy and such. Oh, that's it. Goodbye.